Tip number 3 is stay on brand. So I presume you all have a website, or you're working on creating a website. And for your website, you will be looking at your visual branding. So you'll be looking at your colors, the fonts you want to use, any visual elements, images, kind of images. So when you're creating images for social media, it's good to keep this link between your main branding on your website and your newsletters to everything else you do in marketing. So if your brand is quite clean, modern, plain, sort of straightforward with just a few colors, and then when you go on social media, start creating those completely different vintage-based pictures with vintage backgrounds and different type of photography, different colors, then there will be this disconnect between your website and your social media, and vice versa. If your main brand is all about being quite unusual and maybe vintage images or some custom design images, and then on social media you just start creating plain and boring, purple background, white text, red background, white text pictures, then it will look again different from what you're trying to represent on your website. And also your personality needs to be reflected in your graphics. So if your personality is quite vibrant and that's the kind of business you're creating, and that's how you want to be perceived in the world, then there's no point trying to be very, very soft and hiding in your graphics, and vice versa. So stay on brand, use the same fonts or very similar fonts. If you can't get exactly the same font that you used on the website, use the same colors and try to stay with the same elements. And then you can select the color. It starts with some basic colors already, and then you can always add additional colors that are specific for your brand. So for that, you need to know your hex codes for each of your colors. So how can you get hex codes for your colors if you don't know them already? So for example, on my website, if I go to my website, I've got this eyedropper tool, which is a tool for Google Chrome. And you select that, and then you can pick the color from the web page. And then as you can see, as I hover over different colors, the little square box below the mouse changes color to whatever I'm hovering on. So I could hover here, and then this will now select the shade of purple from my page. So I can then copy this hex code, put it in Canva. Now I've got the exact hex codes for my website. And I can repeat the process again. And then I can select the pink. Again, copy, paste in Canva. Now I've got my pink. So this is how I can start building the palette of colors for my particular brand. A good thing with branding to save you time as well is to have one file, for example, for all your Facebook covers. What it does then is you're setting up all your colors for your brand once, and then Canva will keep them for each next design you are creating in this file. So if I'm creating another cover that I want to use, say in January, I will have my colors here already added. But if I'm creating a new file each time I want to create a new Facebook cover, then I'll have to go back to my website, grab all the colors again and set up the palette. So this kind of saves you time. And also sometimes you can reuse some of the elements that you used here and it worked well, it looked nice. So either you can copy it and then just drag it onto this picture, which now copied all the design across as well, or you can simply drag elements between pictures. Again, it will bring out together all the styles and everything, customizations that you've done before.